Army comes to Beaver Stadium, first time since 1979. Don't worry about the security at the stadium. You're going to be fine.
A big thank you to the schedule makers. They get us one more non-conference opponent for a team that has depth issues and injuries they are dealing with before they jump back into the Big Ten schedule.
That's exactly right. It's the final non-conference game before the Big Ten push. The Blue-White Tailgate, presented by Coors Light, is next. And as always, great to have you with us. Steve Jones, Trey, Bauer, Todd, Sadowski as Penn State gets ready for Army. Trey, San Diego State, good test, but you really felt they was in control all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, I never felt like the game was in doubt. I mean, if you think about the long kickoff return, I mean, obviously special teams, when you start to move up the food chain, is going to be really important. We got to kind of like tighten that stuff up. But, I mean, I never felt like we were not, dominating the game.
Frankly Speaking is presented by Blaze Alexander Family Dealerships. For James Franklin, looking for consistency week to week.
I think we're playing really well at times, but I think we got to be more consistent in all three phases. Our offense is doing some good things with both the run and the pass. We've kind of had the injury bug this year. We've lost a lot of guys either for multiple games or during games. Our defense is doing some great things with sacks and turnovers. We just got to be more consistent. I thought our special teams, like I said, has played well for the first couple weeks of the year, but did not play well tonight. We were inconsistent.
And that's head coach James Franklin. And, of course, Saquon Barkley and Akeel Lynch hurt during the victory over San Diego State. So, Todd, this really tests the running back depth.
No doubt about it. And Coach Franklin said, look, Mark Allen and Nick Scott are behind those guys on the depth chart for a reason. And you saw the effect when Barkley and Lynch went out. Wasn't really effective with the run game with that. And, unlike Trey, I got a little uncomfortable in that second half as that game was a little bit closer. But, thanks to Austin Johnson and that defensive line. Boy, we're going to talk a lot about them in the show. They just continue to lead the way for the Nittany Lions.
Well, you may have been uncomfortable, but always in the comfort zone at the update desk is Andrew Kalista.
Yes, guys, the hot topic around State College, besides Trent Dilfer calling Penn State a bad situation, is all the talk about Penn State possibly building a new stadium. And yes, if you have a brain, you have to estimate that cost at more than $500 million. AD Sandy Barber admits that there is a study to see what is more cost effective, renovation or building anew. Anyway, Lions fans, be prepared for a huge jump because the university is having trouble raising money anyway, but continues to spend. Some notes from around the NCAA. UGA running back Nick Chubb looking for his 13th straight 100-yard rushing game. That would tie a school record with, you guessed it, Herschel Walker. He will have a tough task against the Tide this week. Also, the NCAA got a big win when a 3 federal judge panel struck down that the NCAA does not have to pay players beyond the cost of attendance. Your Health South Nittany Valley Injury Update Board. These are my best guesses for the week, I guess you could call them. Marcus Allen was dressed at practice, but really wasn't participating from what I saw on Wednesday. Jordan Lucas looks good to go. Expect both of those to be able to play. As for the running back, I would actually rule them out for the week. Evan Schwam didn't practice either on Wednesday. Not really a standout week for the Lion alums in the NFL, but your leading tacklers in the league, Paul Posluszny and Sean Lee, representing linebacker U very well. Guys, I'll have more on Army with Coach Monken later on in the show, as well as a recruiting update.
Always so difficult to come back from a Kalista segment, but we'll attempt to push on. Speaking of pushing on for Penn State, can the two of you put into words what we saw from Anthony Zettel on Saturday?
I think for me personally, and I've gotten a chance to know him a little bit, I think it must have been an unbelievable situation to be put in. I mean, I just know from my own personal experience, my mother died my freshman year in June. I didn't even think I was going to go back to college. I mean, so for him to actually persevere and to have the support of his teammates is really an unbelievable situation.
Well, you hear a lot of the guys after the game say the word brother. I mean, football creates that special bond between the teammates, and it's happened in a lot of different sports, but football just kind of has that special bond, Trey, between the guys. And what I enjoyed seeing was the family in the stands as well. They all came after his dad had passed. They came to Beaver Stadium, said, we want to support Anthony, his accomplishments in his game. They were smiling. They were enjoying themselves. They were celebrating the moment for the game before they went ahead and celebrated his dad's life.
Yep.
And several of those players, by the way, did drive to Michigan to be a part of the service on Sunday, then drove back in time to get back to class on Monday. So that tells you about the bond and the brotherhood that they have. All right, now you have Army. It's always special to play a service academy. They come in because, let's face it, they bring something to the table that every American cherishes.
Well, I mean, it's very difficult as a Penn State fan. I mean, how do you root against Army? I mean, how do you root against an academy? I mean, the fact is these guys, these men and women support us. They protect us from the bad guys. You know, there are a lot of bad guys out there, believe it or not. And the fact is, you just want to see them do well, just not do well enough to beat us.
Well, and let's get to it. What Army's had a series of close games throughout the course of their schedule as they played Fordham close along the way. They played UConn close. They played Wake Forest close along the way before the blowout victory over Eastern Michigan. Walter Barr, the legendary soccer coach here at Penn State, whenever Penn State played a service academy, said, Steve, they always train for something that we don't train for, which is exactly what James Franklin discussed.
You're talking about a group of young men and women at the service academy that are willing to die for something they believe in, you know, and now you take those same people and you put them on a team, and it's that type of commitment and that type of sacrifice. You better be ready. You know, you better be ready for a battle.
I know I look around at our staff meeting, I don't see that same commitment. I just I just don't. I don't know. You know, I mean, especially on the update desk thing, it's like 25 guys, 25 cabs. Coming up, we'll take a look at the Penn State offense. 296 yards from Christian Hackenberg as we continue with the Blue-White Tailgate presented by Coors Light. Well, the Penn State offense was able to get in gear, especially with the passing game, which brings us to the Stocker Chevrolet Drive of the Game, brought to you by Stocker Chevrolet, located on the Benner Pike across from the Nittany Mall. So let's get into the drive of the game. And Christian Hackenberg starts out in the shotgun and gets things rolling for Penn State with this quick pass to the outside. Saeed Blacknall had a big day, 101 yards receiving this one, his first career 100-yard rushing game. Then they go inside to Saquon Barkley. And then there's the snap, and this leads to a penalty on Jake Feely for unsportsmanlike conduct. The personal foul penalty gave Penn State a free 15 to keep the drive going. Then he hits Blacknall. There's the 46-yard strike that gets Penn State in gear and set to go. But Penn State gets set back 15 yards on a penalty, and so they had first and goal at the 22. So why not a screen pass to Barkley? Yeah, break a tackle, spin away from one. Just keep on rumbling toward the end zone, dive at the end, got it. It's just another typical day for Saquon Barkley at the office. That's his first career catch. He is now 1 for 1 in his career. He averages 22 yards a catch. He has a touchdown every time he catches. It's amazing what you can do with freshman numbers. Freshman numbers can do a lot of things for you guys. Barkley's impact really continues to be great when he's in the game. He makes people around him better.
Well, there's like a certain energy when you have, you know, certain players kind of bring that to the table. And in his case, I mean, it's exciting to see him in the game because you just don't know what he's going to do. And he has that intangible that is much different than, you know, some of the other guys they have.
And offensively, what I liked about that, Steve, what I liked about the offense in general is, look, we're seeing a lot of the things we didn't see in week one. They've kind of addressed all the areas that they lacked, especially throwing the ball to the running backs. We saw 2 touchdowns out of the backfield to the running backs, and I think the screen game in that particular part of the offense is going to be big as they get into the Big Ten schedule and start facing some better defensive lines.
And Todd, it's part of that because that's a strong suit for Mark Allen. They dumped that ball off to the flat. He brought it into the end zone. And that running back depth does come into play for James Franklin.
You know, Mark is probably more of our slash, you know, make you miss, you know, type of running back. He's very, very explosive. He's very confident. Only thing that moves faster than his feet is his mouth. has a lot of fun at practice, challenging guys, really, really, really enjoys and loves the game of football and loves being a part of a team. So, I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
And Allen and Scott and Jonathan Thomas are certainly three guys to watch for. And on top of that, Christian Hackenberg is coming off a 296-yard performance. We could have gone a couple of ways on the Offensive Player of the Week presented by Family Clothesline, one of them being Saeed Blacknall with his first career 100-yard receiving game. But we went with Christian Hackenberg, the quarterback, the trigger man for all of this along the way. Had a good, strong performance throwing the football in this one. Accurate, of course, getting the ball to Barkley is not a bad idea, right, guys? It's not
That
bad.
3-yard pass, yeah.
Yeah. Then you'd get it out here into the open space and start breaking some tackles and get into the end zone here. This is the touchdown pass to Godwin. What was great about that is how he led him into yards after the catch. He led him into the end zone that time. And the other part, too, is he did a good job at the line of scrimmage in this game of getting them into the right protections. He told us after the game, he said, look, there are a couple times that we didn't. He said, I messed up on the double-level pass with Godwin and Hamilton. He said, but that's one of the few times they got us.
And I think the touchdown pass to Godwin was really one of the best throws of the game. And he's had issues hitting guys between the numbers or hitting them in stride.
Yep.
Of course, it helped that he had good passing conditions. It wasn't raining for the first time, but he hasn't had too much trouble throwing the ball in bad conditions. But it was nice to have better conditions to throw the ball in. But he's a little bit more accurate. Hit the receivers in stride a little bit more. I still think they're really struggling inside the 20. That's why that Godwin pass was so important to actually cash in and get a touchdown as they got in the red zone.
Andrew Kalista takes a look at Penn State going vertical with the pass game.
We had a lot of respect for their corners. Tonight, our guys were able to run by them a few times and make some plays. So, it was about what we anticipated going into the game.
Right from the start, Penn State was in go mode with the passing attack, something unseen during previous weeks.
I think a lot of times you guys think, the game plan is to just run the ball and not throw it more than 5 yards down the field. It's really just kind of how it plays out. I mean, we always have shots in the game plan.
Coach isn't wrong. We've been waiting for Penn State to be full go with the vertical threat. Against the Aztecs, Saeed Blacknall had his engine running right from the start with this 45-yard grab to set up the Lions for an early lead. Wash, rinse, repeat, Blacknall again for 46, this time in the second. The most surprising aspect of the attack, Kyle Carter with a huge catch to flip not only the field, but the momentum late in the third.
It's fun. It's definitely catching the ball. Everybody loves it. Like me and the tight end group, we definitely embrace the different roles that we'll play. I mean, it can be different game in and game out, but we just do what we're asked to do. And I mean, whenever the ball gets thrown to us, we make sure we catch it.
As for the trigger man himself, this is what we expect from the Hacken. Nearly 300 yards, 60% on his throws, 3 touchdowns, and 0 INTs. Still, though, all the credit goes to his guys.
Making calls, our guys had to kind of really get a feel for that, so it was tough. And then, I think in the pass game we did a good job of being able to pick it up. Film study, seeing the guys up front be able to adjust to it, and the backs played a big role in that. Being able to get bodies on bodies and enough time to be able to push the ball down the field and make the plays that we needed to make.
And Christian Hackenberg, a strong game, a 296-yard performance, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions in the game as well. That's the other part of the stat line. No picks for Christian Hackenberg in this game. So they took care of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think he looked a lot more comfortable. I mean, he had like a presence about him. I mean, I think he's been kind of struggling with that. To me, he looked much more comfortable in the pocket. He kind of moved around, and I was happy the way that he played.
Now, Army will be next, and the Army secondary has been up and down so far this year defending the pass. Christian Hackenberg discussed some of the keys against them.
We're expecting them to come in with a great game plan. So I think we just need to focus on what we need to do to be successful and making sure that we're executing our plays and our game plan at a high level. And then we'll just let the talent take over and see which guys can make plays, whether it be Army or us. I think it's going to be a great challenge for us, and we're excited about it. I think it's just something that we can build on throughout the year and making sure that our execution and our focus on what we need to do and what we have control over.
Well, they had control over plenty during the course of the game. It also helps when your defense comes up with big plays or when the defense scores a touchdown in the game at just the right moment. We'll take a look back at the Nittany Lion defense as we continue with Blue White Tailgate presented by Coors Light after this.
Go up to Anthony Zettel and get him to give you his best impression of a dinosaur.
It's like a mix between the Velociraptors. I don't know, it's like a
Velociraptor?
baby Velociraptor.
That's your Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week right there, Anthony Zettel. You know, the defense played well. This is 10 consecutive games now, guys, where they've given up, as a defense, 7 points or fewer in a half. What kind of job do they do of setting a tone in a game, Trey?
Well, I think that, you know, they go out and they actually dominate people. I mean, if you think about it, we can draw up all the X's and O's that you want, but I mean, literally the game is won on the line of scrimmage, and our up front guys are better than all the guys we've been playing so far, and they've actually dominated.
It's great preparation, too. I mean, great preparation to know what their plan is and then to execute it. We talk about execution all the time. And the defensive line, the defensive linebackers, the secondary, they're all on the same page. Once the game begins, as you mentioned, that first half, they're doing a great job executing the game plan.
Well, our Defensive Player of the Week presented by Family Clothesline is also the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week, and that is Anthony Zettel. Who knows how he somehow got through the course of this game. His mom was there, other family members there as well, playing about 48 hours after his father passed away. He'd spent the last 3 weeks going back and forth, limited practice before the Rutgers game. Did practice all week before San Diego State, but I mean, the respect that you have for what he did to play at that level, there aren't words for it. There really are not words for it. Now we get to the hit of the week. At least now we're doing hits of the week that actually involve all plays within the field of play. I think I like that part, which leads to the big play, and it's Carl Nassib off the edge. Maxwell Smith hit, and here it goes, 323 pounds of rumbling fun down the sideline. Zettel and Nassib. Nassib's the one that jars the ball loose, and Austin Johnson is about to channel his inner Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. My favorite part of that is he doesn't even think about smothering it. He scoops it, and he goes. That's my favorite part of it. He was thinking 6 points the whole way.
No. He's running down the field. This is what he told us after the game. He's running down the field, and he looked up at the scoreboard, and he thought, oh, my goodness, I might score. And he kept running. Zach Mills did that in the game with Ohio State. They snapped the ball over his head. Mills picked it up. He threw a pass to R.J. Luke. And we asked him after the game, how did you see that? He said, I looked up at the scoreboard and realized we were okay. It's like, you got to love the scoreboard. It certainly helps. But, you know, I mean, the impact that he's had, Austin Johnson, we're talking about Zettel. Johnson's just another, you love playing behind these guys.
Well, he's a beast. I mean, he makes the guys look, you know, so much better. I mean, the fact is that the linebacker play has been good this year. You know, we've had a couple injuries, but the fact is those guys, you know, the guys up front make the linebackers look much, much better.
If you want to know,
that's a bold admission by you. That's a bold admission.
I have to give credit where credit is due.
Oh. Well, and if you want to know how good they really are, talk to the opposing coaches after the game. And Rocky Long was super impressed with the defensive line. And he said not only the starters, but when the other guys came in, there wasn't much drop-off. And he mentioned Penn State was pretty much set for the next couple of years.
And, of course, we've talked about Nassib, Johnson, we've talked about Zettel, but now you're looking at Garrett Sickles coming on for head coach James Franklin.
The thing that stands out about Garrett is his motor. You know, he goes hard every single play. He's got a really good set of tools. You know, you look at Nassib. He's got some, you know, elite, overpowering size, speed combination things that are really showing up. Sickles is the guy that just does a lot of things well for us. You know, first-time starter and is really growing with experience and confidence right now.
Now, we were told during our meeting beforehand by Jay Paterno that we actually should not ask you about defending the option.
I don't know why he would.
I thought that was a dig.
It was absolutely a dig. I don't understand why he would say that. I mean, when we played, you know, one of the teams that we played was Oklahoma in the '85 Orange Bowl. And by the way, the leading rusher in the country was Jamel Holloway. He had -6 yards rushing. So we can kind of like defend, and I kind of know a little bit about that.
So how would you defend it?
I think what you need to do is the most important thing is the consistency in practice. I mean, consistently going over that, because you're only going to see it one time during the year, and you need to get reps so everyone's in the proper position.
Our John Stroh's the one that asked the question, and he asked it in such a way as, Coach, what about playing assignment football?
It's one of these deals where you can't have just one or two answers. You got to have a couple different answers of how to defend the fullback dive, how to defend the quarterback, how to defend the pitch, and then how to defend their version of the speed sweeps and things that they do where they motion and then toss the ball out to the guy on the edge. And then once you overcommit to those things, now you're susceptible to giving up the big play in the passing games.
And that, Todd, is the part. They don't throw it often, but when they do, they want chunk plays.
20 yards of completion they're averaging, so they don't do it often, but when they do, when they catch you, they're going to hit a big play. And you talked about the discipline of the defense on this offense. The triple option is all about 2nd and 7, 3rd and 4, 4th and 1 even, and going for it, and then hit you with a big play. So tackling is going to be an issue for the secondary as they're involved with it, avoiding that big play through the air, and also making sure they wrap up.
Discipline offense. Army, discipline. Andrew Kalista and Jay Paterno in the film room after this.
Welcome back to the Blue White Tailgate Show. Time to go inside the film room with Coach Jay Paterno. And you notice Steve Joe not on the set. You know why? Because he's not young enough and he doesn't have enough of hair to belong up here. But he's taking enough of shots at me during this episode. So, Steve, that's one for you. But, Jay, Army's coming in. We know all about the triple option. We're going to get to that in a second. But first, we're actually going to break down the defense of the Black Knights coming in here first.
Absolutely. We want to take a look at both sides of the ball. Their base coverage is what we call quarter, half, and that's something that's a little different than a lot of teams. Iowa and Ohio State, when Tressel was there, this was kind of their base coverage. And really what they want to do is they want to overshift the front to the field and really force you into a boundary game running the ball and force you to throw the ball out here to the field, low percentage throws. The key on this is the strong safety. Key's number 2. If number 2 blocks, he's going to look to run support. If number 2 drags or goes in the flat, he's going to look to double up number 1 receiver out here. So that's really the key, and there's a lot of ways to attack it. Now, with a guy like Christian Hackenberg with a strong arm, they should have a very easy time throwing this ball out here and making some things happen. The other thing about this coverage is it allows you, as we go to the next slide, to adjust and make different changes. Here, very simple. You look at it, they just bring a guy off the edge, and they bring the strong safety down, and now they go from a quarter, half to a 3 deep where you see them run to 3 deep. We go to the next slide, and when you have some success now on the next slide, you'll see that when you run the ball into the boundary, now they bring the corner off the edge, they change up. That boundary corner is as much a run support guy as he is a cover guy in this scheme because he usually has help over the top. As we go to the video that we'll show you, you'll see how in this coverage you get a lot of one-on-one outside with the field corner. Here's a great job by Wake Forest taking advantage of that.
And now we'll get to the Army offense. As you see on the monitor behind us, triple option is going to present a ton of problems. Penn State, you got to do a good job of reading your keys defensively because you need to identify actually where that football is.
Listen, every athletic director loves to schedule Army because it's kind of a neat thing to have a service academy. Every coach hates it when they see Army on the schedule because of triple option. Triple option football is assignment football on defense. You have a guy who's responsible for the dive, a guy who's responsible for the quarterback, and a guy who's responsible for the pitch. No matter what happens, they've got to take that guy. They've got to stick to the responsibility. When I was at the University of Virginia, when we would practice for option teams, George Welsh would often make the defense practice without a football against the option so that this guy wouldn't get caught looking at the ball. They're going to take care of these things in the triple option, double down, block down, and now he's got to take the dive. He's got to take the quarterback, he's got to take the pitch, and they block him. They're trying to create 3-on-2 opportunities. But that's not all they do. Go to the next slide, and we'll show you the loaded option. Now, on the loaded option, they make it a little simpler on the quarterback. They create a 2-on-1 by blocking the dive key, blocking the pitch key, and now the quarterback's going to get to the perimeter. At Notre Dame, Lou Holtz, when he had Tony Rice, loved loaded options because he would get his quarterback out to the pitch key. The guy would take the pitch, and now Tony Rice would have the ball in his hands running. We'll go to the video and show you how this works. And you'll see now with Bradshaw at Army, now we don't know if he'll play or not, but you see he's a very effective runner, and if they can get him running, it's great. If not, he's going to turn and pitch that ball and get on the edge. You see right here, they get a nice play on the edge here inside the 10-yard line. We go to our next slide now, and here's another 2-on-1 situation. They're going to double down here. They're going to block again. They're going to block the quarterback key, the guy in the pitch key, and now the quarterback's simply going to isolate the dive key. When you go to the zone, to the video, we'll show you how this works. Now, when I coached at James Madison, this was one of our best 2-point plays that we had because it really puts this dive guy in a bind and everybody else is blocked. You'll see that guy takes the fullback and Bradshaw follows him into the end zone for the score. We go to our next slide here, and you'll see the zone read that everybody's running in college is very similar. Wake Forest is just reading a 2-on-1 here. We go to the video, you see how effective that is. The only difference is now it's in the shotgun, and now it gives the quarterback a little bit easier look at it, and now he runs into the end zone.
Penn State fans should be a little familiar with that look. Michael Robinson, tremendous at the read option with him and Tony Hunt in the backfield. But Army, they do struggle a little bit on the perimeter with some of their athletes. They do throw the ball, as we will talk about later on with Steve on set, and you're going to show us one of those plays as well.
Well, once they got you playing the option, and you have a tendency to think, okay, we got the option covered. And now, again, it's assignment football. So if you look at this one, this guy I've got right here, he's responsible for the pitch. So now they're going to come down the line, fake to the fullback. They're going to get the linebackers up. They're going to get him playing pitch. And now they're going to sneak the guy out that this guy would normally be covering in a straight pass. He's going to jump off the line. And now you got him on a wheel route. You got a post outside, and you got him. And we'll take a look at the video and show you how that works. And you look at that outside linebacker at the top. He's going right to the pitch. The guy he should be covering is going down the sideline. And it creates a nice big play. And again, it's all assignment, but Army knows it's assignment. They get you to play your assignment. Now they sneak a guy out, and they may not throw it often, but when they do, you can get some big plays out of it.
Yeah, and actually, if that ball is probably delivered a little bit earlier, gives the fullback a chance to make a move and maybe bust one out for an even bigger gain and possibly a touchdown.
Absolutely, and that's the thing Penn State's got to be ready to do is eliminate the big plays that come from missing your assignment. And if they stay on their assignments, they've got better people than Army. They got better talent, but it should be a good day for Penn State. But the key is going to be getting them off the field so that Penn State's offense can make plays against that Army defense.
Jay, let me ask you one question. There's injuries in the secondary for Penn State. Malik Golden got some time last week coming in for Allen. How tough it is for maybe, say, Golden, who hasn't played a lot of football this year, to be able to make that adjustment in just one game?
Well, there's two things about the option that really drive you nuts defensively. It's hard to simulate in practice. Full speed. It's also hard for your defensive lineman to get used to all the low blocks. So it's going to be a tough adjustment, but I think they'll handle it.
Definitely. And guys, we'll talk to Coach Monken coming up. He's probably the best guy that could break down the Black Knights. You're watching the Blue White Tailgate Show as we roll on right after this.
Okay, so the first part of the bump, we show Ahmad Bradshaw throwing. Okay, who puts these things together? Okay.
Don't do it often.
All right. This is where stats are misleading. Army has given up just 2 sacks all year. Okay. Hey, they don't throw the ball ever. This is some attack to watch because it's not just simple, hey, double wing and a fullback. They motion everybody, Trey.
Well, I mean, the fact is they've got obviously really committed, smart people that happen to be football players. The fact is they can probably do a lot of things that, most schools are not going to be able to do because of the high IQ level of most of the guys that they have there. So I think it's important you have to be as disciplined as they are, because if not, you're going to have problems.
And they just set a record for the academy for rushing against Eastern Michigan. Yeah. 556 yards on the ground. I'll say it again. 556 yards on the ground, put up 58 points against Eastern Michigan. I know it's Eastern Michigan, but to still put that many yards up, impressive.
Turf, gray field, unbelievable. Jeff Monken ran this offense at Georgia Southern, as a matter of fact. Let's take a look at his file. Brent Pry knows this actually pretty well, which is a big help. And you can see the great job that he's done through the course of his career. Now he brings this here as well. How disciplined do you have to be against this?
You don't have to try to overpower an option team. I mean, a lot of times it's kind of like just being in the right spot. You can't worry what the other guy is going to do. You have to worry what your job is and what your role is supposed to be. Don't worry. Don't try to do too much, because if you do, you're going to get caught.
And Garrett Sickles knows that they have to take care of their assignments one by one, play by play.
Also the triple option, we just have to be disciplined. Everyone has to take care of their job. Defensive line, linebackers, and the back end. We always have to do our job every play, and we should be fine.
And you look at what they've done. The one thing we don't know, Todd, is who's quarterbacking them. Now, both have played this year, but Ahmad Bradshaw far more than A.J. Sure
and
has.
Would be a huge loss. He's the team's leading rusher, and we've mentioned how much they like to run the ball. So, and when you're dealing with a triple option, the quarterback's making all the decisions about what you do with who gets the ball. They're reading the defense. So to lose Bradshaw would be a big, big blow to the Black Knights.
So let's look at the running backs and how they set up for Army. They use a lot of them, but it starts with the fullback, Aaron Kemper. And then you mix in Joe Walker, who can get to the edge. So option number one is the fullback. If you take that fullback out in terms of the ability up front, what does that then do as a domino to the rest of the offense, Trey?
Well, I think what happens is if you can shut down that inside run game and then make them kind of like pitch the ball, get it to the perimeter. I mean, the fact is Penn State's got some speed on the outside. They've got better athletes than Army because that's not what they do. They defend the country. And the fact is that if you could stop the inside run game, it's going to make the rest of it kind of set up pretty good.
They have 6 guys that had 60 yards last week. So it's, they do spread the ball around to their runners. But I think Penn State is really set up perfectly to defend this with that much power on the inside to blow up the fullback run right up the middle.
Yeah, I would think between Johnson, Zettel, Kabinda, and Reeder, that's a key part to this because that fullback dive play gets it started. And if you take it out and you have no respect for it, now it changes how you play.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, like, if you can control, again, games are won on the offense or on the line of scrimmage, and if we can dominate them up front, it's going to be difficult for them to move the ball.
Well, I mentioned they like to be in 2nd and 7 and 2nd and 6. If they're in 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11, that's not what Army likes to do.
Right, and you also play with the lead against these guys. This is the perfect play with the lead team here. Defensively, though, they do give up a fair amount of big plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we mentioned if they can't get a rush on Christian Hackenberg and he gets that extra second or two and the receivers can get that time to get separation, which is something that has been a luxury so far this year. Hasn't been a lot of that going on. They're going to be able to gash them with some big plays.
Well, Army is maybe 1-3, but the first 3 games against Fordham, UConn, Wake Forest, all close games before they then blew out Eastern Michigan. Jeff Monken is in his 2nd year as the head coach at Army. Coming up, he'll talk to our Andrew Kalista about his football team and bringing Army West Point into Beaver Stadium to face the Nittany Lions as we continue with Blue-White Tailgate after this.
Welcome back to the Blue-White Tailgate Show presented by Coors Light. Time to talk Army West Point football. And to do that, we are pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Black Knights, Coach Jeff Monken. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thanks for having me on.
Coach, I know it doesn't really have to be said, but I like to reiterate it. You are going to bring in the highest class of football players in the nation in the Beaver Stadium, and I know a lot of the Penn State faithful are excited for you to make the trip.
We're excited for the opportunity, and I think that's one of the things that excites our players about playing at a place like West Point. We get opportunities to play in ball games like this at places like Beaver Stadium, and what a tremendous program and team that Penn State has.
Coach, the quarterback position, such a key spot running the triple option. What does Mr. Bradshaw bring to the table?
Oh, being a first-year starter, we really didn't know coming into the year kind of how he'd respond to that responsibility, and I think he's handled it really well. Remarkably mature and has handled adversity and plays where he didn't make the right read or made a mistake that cost us. He's able to brush those off and handle those pretty maturely and professionally and go on to the next series or the next down, and that's been impressive. Besides the fact that he's done a really good job of running through some tackles and making some plays for us, and which is what we hoped. And he's got a lot to learn. He's going to get better. He'll improve as a player the more he plays. But done some good things, and I think he's the right kind of quarterback for our offense.
Coach, you had tremendous success at Georgia Southern, I believe beating the Gators in your final game there. You come to West Point. Last time they were in a bowl game, 2010. What's the atmosphere and excitement like up there along the Hudson?
Oh, I don't get a chance to get out very much to find out from everybody else what they're saying about the game. I'm sure everybody's excited, and anytime that we play a team like Penn State or a big name team, as we do get the chance to do here quite often, there's a lot of excitement. But for us and for our team, we've got a job to do. We've got to get the team prepared. Our kids got to practice and get the execution of their assignments down before we get to the game on Saturday, so that we do give ourselves the best opportunity to win the football game. It's not going to be easy, and in order for us to do that, we're going to have to play really, really well. And I think our kids are just, right now, just knuckling down on their assignments and trying to play good fundamentally and get prepared for what they know is going to be a great challenge.
Coach, I know all the talk normally for opponents is always on stopping the triple option. Defense kind of gets lost. But you guys got some pretty good players on the defensive side of the ball, as we saw against Wake Forest earlier this year.
We've had some guys make some good plays. We've got a lot of inexperienced guys over there on that side of the ball. Chris Carnegie's been a starter regularly here. He starts a corner for us. Andrew King and Jeremy Timpf are two inside linebackers that played a lot of football. But beyond those two guys, inside up front, the rest of those guys are first-year starters. On the back end, along with Carnegie, Xavier Moss moved over from wide receiver, and he's played a lot of football, played a lot on offense, but hadn't played a lot of defensive football. So he's still learning and improving and getting better. And the other guys that are over there with that group are all really first-time starters or full-time starters. A couple of those guys started in place of some injured guys, but we're not what you'd call a veteran defense. But I like that group of guys. I think we're fairly athletic, and we've had some guys that have gotten better from week to week, and I think they're playing their best football of the year right now, and hopefully they'll play better this Saturday and continue to improve as we go through the year.
Coach, one thing, and I'm not sure if you're aware of the plan, a lot of the Penn State faithful are hoping that the entire core comes down. Do you have any information on that?
I don't. I know that we will be represented. I know there are going to be members of the core that'll be at the game, but I don't have any idea in terms of how many. I don't think it's likely that the whole core will be there, but I know we'll be well represented.
All right, Coach, that's all the time we have. Thank you once again for taking the time to speak with us.
Thanks a lot.
All right, it is time for your Blue-White Tailgate recruiting update as we take a look at where Penn State ranks so far this year. The usual suspects at the top, the Buckeyes, followed by LSU, USC, Ole Miss. We know Trey would like to say they'll be on probation because of this. Michigan doing work with Jim Harbaugh, followed by the U, and then Penn State. Should be noted, the 2017 offer board is up in the Lions Den over at BWI on the Rivals.com network. Ryan Snyder doing great work as always. We talk about some of the commits right now. Miles Sanders having a great year so far for Woodland Hills. So elusive, and check out the balance. Flip over to the Big Uglies. Connor McGovern, Penn State fans should be liking it, paving the way along the offensive line for 400 yards rushing for Lake Lehman last week. And Lavert Hill, the DB out of Michigan, he just received his Army All-American jersey this week. Congratulations, Lavert Hill. Should be noted he's also looking at Michigan and Michigan State. That is your Blue-White Tailgate recruiting update. We send it back to Trey, Steve, and Todd right after this.
Well, time now for one of our favorite segments, the good, the bad, the ugly. I think over the past couple of years, everyone understands there really is only one angelic individual on set. So, Todd, you get the good.
Hey, thank you very much. I'll start with the good. And I'm going to go big picture with the good and just talk about Army in general. Yeah. They're more likely to win the Medal for Valor than a national championship ring. But what an awesome experience to bring him here to Happy Valley to play in front of a sold-out crowd, first non-conference sellout in a few years. And look, these guys are going to have unforgettable experiences in life. Some of them will be horrific, so why not give them an awesome football experience before they're done playing?
The bad, the kicking game at the University of Texas. You play Cal, you need an extra point to go to overtime. Miss it. You play last week, all you have to do is get the punt away, you'll go to overtime. It goes through his hands. Texas kicking game, the bad. For some odd reason, Trey gets the ugly.
This is going to be a little interesting. So the ugly is Andrew Kalista's golf gear. Okay, but we're going to be ugly and uglier. Ugly is Alabama's defense, who, being coached by Nick Saban, I mean, that's ugly and what's happened over the last few weeks. Uglier is Nick Saban in the press conference after the game whining like he's sucking on a lemon. It's like, I'm sick of that guy, and I hope they get waxed this weekend.
Well, okay. Hey, who's the top conference right now? What do you guys think is the top conference right now?
It's tough.
I think it's the Big Ten. I think the Big Ten, top to bottom, we got the top 2 teams in the country. Okay. Although it's only 5 games into the season, I mean, I think that the Big Ten is...
With the emergence of Michigan, you can make the argument. Absolutely. Yes. They're back in the top 25. You still have Northwestern performing well. Wisconsin, we'll see. You know, if Penn State can continue winning, sneak themselves up there, you can make the argument.
Pac-12's playing well, and Tom Bradley's got that UCLA defense playing well enough to put them in a position as well. All right, let's get to our picks. Todd and I went back and forth on this as to who should pick the Clemson-Notre Dame game, and after wrangling for about, 2-3 seconds, we thought Trey should pick this game.
And
Trey,
I'm moving to the edge of my seat.
I don't like Notre Dame. If anyone out there is kind of like, if there's any kind of question, I don't like them. I'm Catholic, but I don't like Notre Dame. I hate them. Unfortunately, I think that they're better than Clemson, and I think they're going to beat Clemson on the road.
Ooh, wow. West Virginia, Oklahoma.
Well, West Virginia put a pasting on Maryland, but who's not going to with the defense for the Terps this year? West Virginia, if they want to make a name for themselves in the Big 12, it's got to happen this week against Oklahoma.
Actually, we'll stay with you with Mississippi State and Texas A&M.
You're going to throw Alabama, Georgia?
Yes, I am.
What game did you give me? What'd you throw me?
You got Mississippi State, Texas A&M. I'm sorry.
I'll go whatever. I'll go Texas A&M. Let's get to the next
one. There we go.
So
Alabama, Georgia.
It's red meat time.
Alabama at Georgia. Georgia's should rush for 250 yards. They should probably win by at least a touchdown. And I just can't wait to see him whining in the press conference after the game.
Maybe you should send him some cheese to go with his wine.
He doesn't deserve it.
Oh, you're just... Okay. Time now for our Aaron's keys to the game. The key to me from Aaron's is I say thank you every week. All right, Trey, we'll start with you.
I think the key to the game is to prevent Army from converting on third downs. I mean, they're converting third downs at 50%, almost double what Penn State is. And I think that if we can kind of get them into, as Todd alluded earlier, if we can get them into a second and long or third and long, it's going to be a long day for them.
Sounds simple, but play with the lead. Anytime you have a team that runs the football and needs to put together time-consuming drives to score, if you play with the lead, that changes up things.
And to piggyback on that, Steve, is you have to get the lead. And I want to see Penn State play better in the first quarter and the third quarter. They've only scored 20 points in the first quarter and only 3 after halftime in the third quarter. So I want to see the team get out to a faster start against Army.
I believe they've outscored, 24-3 in the third quarter so far. Yeah, so that's what you're looking for, to see if they can do that. The bitterness about Notre Dame, Todd and I are taken aback.
Catholic. I don't have anything against being
that's why
Catholic.
They created Boston. That's why they created Boston College. You're fine.
Boston College is they're the wannabe. Like, they can't get into Notre Dame, so that's why they go to Boston College, and they can't play on the football team, so that's why they play at Boston College. So.
And with that, we bring the curtain down on the Blue White Tailgate, presented by Coors Light.